Hi Ken, it's me. I was going to teach you how to make a covered wagon and using a piece of paper. Remember I said if you had a piece of cardstock or a piece of construction paper, either of those things would be great. If it doesn't make any difference what color, obviously it would have been brown in the real days, but whatever you have was going to work. So go ahead and take your ruler. And I'm using the one out of our agenda, so I know you have that one. And I want you to measure 2 inches from each side. So I'm taking my ruler, I'm putting it on my paper. Here, can you see my paper? Kind of, yeah. Let me tip it just a smidge. There you go. Okay, so then you're going to measure 2 inches in. So there's my 2-inch mark. I'm going to just make a little line. Same thing up here, so I'm going to get it as straight as I can. There's that mark. Make sure I measured correctly. There's that mark. And then take your ruler, that same ruler. Mine's a little small, and yours will be too. So a regular size ruler is best, but I'm just going to use, you've got one of these because this is where your packets were this week. So I'm going to use that just as a straight line, and I'm going to measure so that I'm touching each little mark that I made, so it'll be a 2-inch line. And I'm going to press pretty hard. And the reason for pressing hard is that it's going to make it easier to fold in a few minutes. So when you get done, you should have a line across like that. I'm going to do the same on this side and then on both sides of there, both the top and the bottom. So remember, you're measuring 2 inches. And then you're going to take your straight edge, you're going to match it up so that it's nice and straight, and you're going to press pretty hard right there, like that. Good. And then I have my second line. If you can see it well enough. Okay, I've got my second line there. Then I'm going to do the ends exactly the same way. The 2 inches. And this is going to be the sides and the back and front of our wagon. And then I'm going to find my mark there. Good. I'm going to change pencils here. Okay, and there's that mark there. Same thing at the other end. I'm finding here that even though I love mechanical pencils, you know that, it's actually working out better to use just a regular pencil because I can put more pressure on it. If I put pressure on the mechanical pencil, it wants to break. The lead wants to break. So I've got my regular pencil. I'm pressing pretty hard right there. All right. So there's my paper. It's got the 2 inch here, 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 and here. All right. All right. The next step is to fold it. And if you've pressed pretty hard, it should fold pretty easily, right along that line, like that. So you're going to press hard there, and here. Make a nice crease, and then you're going to do the ends. There's the front end, and there's the back end. All right, so you've kind of got a paper that looks like that. Then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut right here to here and here to here. Okay? I'm going to do it on one side, and then I'm also going to do it on the other side. And this is going to make it so that we can make a kind of a fancy looking box. Okay? So there's my cuts. All right. I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing on the other side. And if you can't keep up with this, you can always pause it and bring it back. There you go. Now I've got all my cuts. For the next step, you'll need either white glue, glue stick, or tape, whatever you have on hand, whatever is easiest. If you're using white glue, you have to be careful not to use too much. Okay, for right now, I'm just going to use tape. So I'm taking my piece of tape off, and I'm putting this piece, I'll show you here, this piece on the inside. Okay, so that piece goes on the inside. See, there's going to be our inside of our wagon. And I'm just going to tape it right, maybe right there's where my tape is. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing with this side, like that. Okay, and I'm going to put another piece of tape there. I'm going to do the same thing with the front of our wagon. Okay, so can you see that, kind of? And your tape, I'm putting my tape on the inside. Your tape can certainly be on the outside if you like. Okay, so you can kind of see how that looks like that. Okay, all right. I think I'll go ahead and I think I'll put a little piece on the outside as well. Now you have to realize that this is only made out of paper, and so it's not going to be a very sturdy wagon. But I thought maybe you could draw some things that the pioneers would have taken with them on their trip west, like a sack of flour or sugar. Or you can make a little axe or a little hammer. And even if you just make them out of paper, it would and you could put them in your wagon. It would carry that much. Okay, so there's my wagon. Well, there's the box of the wagon. Super. All right. Then you're going to need a cardboard, okay, just a piece of cardboard. And you're going to find something that's going to be round. You can use a glass like that, or maybe you have, I don't know, something in your house that's round, maybe a block or something that's round. And you're going to put that on your cardboard and you're going to draw around it. You're going to trace around it. And then you're going to make 4 of those and you're going to cut them out. These are your wagon wheels. So there's my wheel here. And they need to be pretty good size. And as you know, the wagon wheels were not made out of steel so much. They were mostly, much of it was made out of wood. And so when you finally get your wagon wheels cut out, as round as you can, of course, you're going to have 4 of them. And once you get them cut out, then you can take your marker and you can make a mark on your paper or on your wagon wheel here. That makes it look kind of like, well, let me draw it here for you and I'll show you. One more here. Something like that. There's our realistic wagon wheel made out of wood. You'll need 4 of those. And what I learned when I was making my practice wagon, that getting these in the right position so that the wagon wasn't too tippy was important. So I used tape on mine, and I put a little piece of tape. I had double stick tape, but you might just want to put some glue right there, and on about halfway. Okay, so not on the whole thing, but just on the top half. And then when you connect it to your wagon, it would look like something like that. About halfway is what I'm looking at. And this side looks great, but you have to also have this side over here that is equal so that the wagon isn't too tippy. So it may take you a few minutes to figure out exactly what's going to make your wagon straight, sit straight. So that's the hardest part. But you just put a little glue on, and you put the wagon wheel, whatever looks good to you. A little, not quite to the end, of course. One there and one there. Okay? All right. And you can see there's how mine looked. Okay? And I didn't make mine very realistic, did I? But yours is going to look better. Okay? So there's your wagon wheel like that. wagon wheel like that. And that way when it sits pretty level, sits, you know, pretty, so it's not too tippish. All right, all right. Then you're gonna take your white piece of paper, and I thought that this was a little bit difficult, but I don't want to bend it up here. That was the hard part. So I don't want to bend my paper. So my paper is like this, and I'm taking it and I'm folding it like that. Okay, and I'm going to be careful to not bend this piece because that's going to be the canopy of our wagon. Okay, did you see that? There you go. All right. Okay, so I took a piece of paper like this. Whoops, there we are. And I folded it like that. And then I took my scissors and I just kind of guessed. I'm kind of starting, I'm starting about an inch in, okay? So about an inch from the end, and I just went up a little bit like that, okay? Because in our Conestoga wagon here, lots of times this piece was longer because it was kind of like it was a canopy, and it kind of kept them more dry when they were traveling to the west. You can do two things. You can go ahead and just leave the back like this, or you can also cut the back like the front. This time I'm going to cut the, last time I didn't, but this time I'm going to cut the back. Okay, just about the same way. You just take a little bit, can you see that? Just a little bit off like that. Ta-doo! All right. And I was really careful not to bend this part. Okay, all right. So now you have your wagon, and you have wheels on your wagon. And then you're going to take your canopy, and you're going to take, can you see this here? No, you can. Okay. I'm going to tape it right in there, okay? Not all the way down, because if you do it all the way down, it didn't want to, well, you could, I guess. Well, whatever you think's best. But I think that in order to make a taller canopy, I had to glue it or I had to tape it. So I just put a little bit, okay, in my box. I put it like that, okay? Just a little bit down, and I'm gonna put a piece of tape in there to hold it in place. Okay, so there's my, how it looks. Okay, then I'm just gonna bend it over and do the same thing on the other side. Now you might need Mommy and Daddy to help with this part because it's a little bit tricky trying to get your hand clear in there. But I think you can do it. Your hands are pretty small. So I'm just going to do the same thing on this side. And if Mommy and Daddy are there to help, that's great too. There's a little piece there. And there's a little piece there. So now there we have our wagon. Okay. With your wheels, of course. And then in most wagons, of course, they had to have a place to sit. So take another little piece of paper. I get mine here. And you can do, this is kind of like inventing, okay? So you can invent your own way how you're going to make this little seat. I made just a little platform by taking a piece of paper and just cutting it out like just a little square like that, and I folded it a little bit in half, not quite in half, and then I hooked it into my wagon so that it would be like that. Can you see that side? Yeah. And you just tape it in, and that's where they would sit. And of course, all wagons had a tongue. They call it a tongue. Isn't that a funny word? But it's how they hooked the horses to the wagon, because a wagon was pretty much useless without a horse. And so they had a tongue. So if you want to make, I just took a little piece of paper. You can make up whatever you would like. Mine looks kind of like that. And then you can just glue it or tape it onto the bottom of the wagon. So it looks like that. And that's what the horses were connected to. And there you have your little Conestoga wagon. And as you know, traveling west was a difficult task. It wasn't as romantic as you see in the cartoons, as you see in the old movies. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of strain and stress on families, moving to a place that was a different place where there weren't a lot of people, and there were all kinds of dangers, whether it was weather, whether it was Indians, whether it was sickness. They were a brave people, those pioneers. So as you create your little pioneer wagon, enjoy thinking what it would be like to be a pioneer. And like I said, you can draw little things and put them in there, things that they may have taken, or maybe have little pieces of cloth you can fold up and pretend like they're blankets or whatever. Your wheels are going to be important, so be sure you have your wheels that are a little bit more sturdy. These wheels are made out of some kind of cardboard. And there's my little wagon here. Whoops, his little seat fell off. Okay, there's my wagon there. And so, if you make a wagon, why don't you send me a picture so I can see how you did with yours. And maybe you've come up with some really good ideas. I'd love to hear those too. So, enjoy your wagon making. Talk to you again. Bye-bye.